Hey friends, welcome to another edition of Why I Joined eXp. Today I had a chance encounter meeting with a name that I was familiar with here in the eXp world, Kate Van Nes, out of, I want to say, Abbotsford, inland of Vancouver, British Columbia. Kate,
right.
welcome for the show. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Nice to meet
So
you.
we were on an eXp kind of coaches call this morning, and I was it was probably about, I don't know, maybe 50 of us, maybe less, around that number anyway. And Katie was very interactive in our group, and I immediately wanted to vibe with Katie. So I sort of reached out to her, checking her on social media, a few of her channels, and Katie, you seem very keen on the growth of agent education in our country, and tell us a little bit, Katie. We spoke a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your success. How long have you been selling real estate? I understand you grew up as a little girl on a raspberry patch farm, and your dad was a realtor. Tell us your story a little bit. Thanks so much.
That's true. My father is an immigrant from Holland and farmer. Our family's farmers, raspberry farmers. But we have many farmers in our family. I live in the Fraser Valley in Abbotsford, which is known as the city in the country. So we have dairy, pig, organic blueberries, chicken farmers, everything. It's a good way to grow up. I'm very thankful.
Are you still near home where you grew up?
I'm so close to home. I'm just like 15 minutes down the road from our family farm that we had growing up. But I did spend 8 years living in New Zealand. I'm a New Zealand citizen. I was there playing rugby, living life, and started my family there. So it's not like I've never left, but oddly enough, do live about 15 minutes from where I grew up. Yeah.
That is cool. Now, from our brief conversation prior to hitting record, I believe your dad was a raspberry farmer. I assume with your name that you came from Holland and your good looks. And then he was a realtor. And then in 2007, I think that you became a realtor, or about that time, and were immediately, rookie of the year, I think, in Vancouver, selling about 70 homes.
That's right. Well, I hit the ground running, having parents who are both licensed realtors. My father passed away the year I signed up to get my license. So I was unfortunate that I never had the blessing of being fully licensed and working with him. But being raised in the environment of real estate, in the car for showings and open houses with the coloring book, I was very familiar, but I didn't get the true honor of learning real estate from him as a licensee. So my first year that I was licensed fully was in the Vancouver board, 2008, rookie of the year, with about 73 deals. And I have to say, I mean, initially, none of my business was my father's business. I did have his cell phone and his cell phone number, and eventually my farm area became came from a development that he had sold in his career. But that took years to build. And initially I was referring that business because it was actually a little bit outside my my hometown. So anyways, most of it, I have to say, was from cold calling, open houses. I did a lot of meeting of the public, and I was calling builders and developers. So my two niches became new construction and recreation property, which was the niche I kind of inherited. Yeah. My father was a commercial residential realtor. And so he had a lot of hands to play in developments and that kind of thing.
Your dad died then, it sounds like 14 years ago. He must have been a young man. Michael knows this.
He was 54. Yeah. And you know what? Part of my passion around team building and agent development is that with technology, it can be done a better way. It can be done a better way. We can network, and belly to belly business is important.
And so in 2008, when you were starting, were you I'm guessing you were in Vancouver and not where you are today. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
I was just licensed out of the Vancouver board. And initially when I was licensed, it was in the Fraser Valley board. And shortly after becoming a new licensee, I met an ownership group at an office in Vancouver. And I just loved them. I thought they were fantastic. I wanted to work with that group. It was very education based. And I found myself being the out of town realtor in the office and didn't mind it at all. In fact, I mean, the referrals were because of my relationships in the office there.
Wow, very
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
And so then from a quick like profile search and stuff of you, then you were with Keller. I think you started your career with Keller Williams, and you finished your career in, well, actually, and from 2015, you left Keller Williams, I think. And then in 2015, you were not in the sales so much. Tell us a little bit of the journey.
So in somewhere around there, I was in a car accident, and I was a top lead generator and had my own team, buyer agents, all the rest of it. Very top down model. I do love Keller Williams. I'm so thankful of my time with them. But just looking at that model is such a top down approach for me and my style, nature of being. I'm very transparent and very agent oriented. So I can just train someone right off my team in a good amount of time. And mostly because there's really nothing that I'm going to withhold or not be transparent about in order to retain the agent on my quote unquote team. So the team building seventh level illusion, I want to call it, kind of diminished for me right after I was in that car accident, because I just wasn't as mobile and able to really go do everything that I needed to do to keep this monster running. Like I was pulling in about 300 to 400 leads organically a month. I was the first boomtown client in Canada. I love software and actually feel like that is my unique value proposition, is helping agents or people on board and integrate with software. And I would consider eXp to be software in a platform like that kind of way. That's how I think of it. And this model really, after taking a break from real estate, you're correct. I was licensed, but I hung my license in a retirement program in British Columbia. We have, it was, I think, $250 a year, and I could receive as many referrals as possible or as I wanted or needed. So I became referral only and referred out all my business after 2016 to 2019 when I joined eXp Realty. And I was basically consulting. Teams would retain me. I was consulting software companies as well who would also retain me. And I felt like at that stage, I was less of a competitor going in with my license hung at the office.
Wow. And so in 2019, you were, tell us a little bit about your exposure to like why you decided to maybe sort of re-get your license, and why eXp, what happened there? This is really the question. Why
I really believed I was never going to be fully licensed again, that I was never going to be able to run at the pace that I ran at before, carrying 20 to 40 listings at a time, working with multiple big builder developer clients. I just did not believe that that was going to be the life for me. And I honestly was so disillusioned by the team model and the 50-50 split. And maybe it was a loss of ego. And maybe with the loss of ego, there was a loss of desire to have my name on the signs. I honestly don't know. Maybe we could like put our feet up and really talk about it sometime. But for me, I just thought, no, I don't want to do the 50-50 split anymore. I didn't see that as in the best interest of the agent. And if I could find a business model where it was in best interest of all, I would be really into it. But in my mind, being fully licensed and at any office, whether it was Remax or Keller or an independent, was never going to be for me. And I was on a motorcycle trip. I think it was the one that I took to Cabo for New Year's Eve. I hopped on my KTM 990 Supermoto and I ripped down to Cabo with a group of friends on off-road, on-road adventure. And an agent friend of mine from North Vancouver, who I think I had discussed a website sale with him 3 years prior, or a lead gen site. And so distant connection. He saw the ride and thought, what is this chick doing? He called me and said, you've got to be back and you got to be selling real estate. And I said, fundamentally, no, emphatically, no. I will never be fully licensed again. I love my independence. I love the consulting. And go into a Remax team one day, an independent broker the next, see the back end of the operations of the business and really apply myself and not be seen as a competitor. It's not for me. But once he explained the model, it completely changed my mind. Like you couldn't unsee it. And yeah, to the point that the bug was in my ear from Los Angeles back to Vancouver. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So yeah, I joined.
I want to put a pin on a couple of things here that you've said.
Go ahead.
Katie, in my limited time of knowing her, is a fierce competitor, a rugby player, which I'm sure I can talk about that a lot. And I'd like to at some point, maybe not on this call because our time is limited. And then so you were, obviously, came into real estate, kicking and screaming, like Rookie of the Year and doing 70+ deals. And then left kind of real estate, but still doing a lot of referral business. And then now I just want to sort of say, I was in Remax for 15+ years, and I had the odd buyer's agent where I would teach them, and I was trained, I had a lot of coaching. I would teach them to change the front tire of the passenger side of the car and as little else as possible, so that when they eventually left, and all sort of team members do, then they wouldn't know too much. But that didn't vibe with me all that well either. And so for the listeners out there, you heard Katie say, this is what I want to stick a pin on, is she was able, or, she would train the members on her team right off her team. Like, you couldn't hold things back. And so a little bit, this is why this model works, eXp Realty, for you. And it's different than any other of the traditional brokerages, such as Keller Williams or Century 21 or Coldwell Banker or Remax. Can you just talk to that just for a moment, Katie? I mean, again, training a member on your team right off your team, like, you're not holding anything back. And this model,
I'm not holding anything back.
Yeah,
I don't mind bringing in administrative assistants. And when I ran my team, I had the admin, the 2, 3, 4 buyer agents, depending on the year. And that was great. The admin did provide a certain level of retention, in the sense that there were things done for the agent, like your transaction kits for your listings or your sales, that type of thing. However, now that I know what I know, it really is just a software integration. The majority of the front end of that work for the admin would have been to set up the templates properly, as like a little example of what before would be something that a team would retain, because they would do the do for you option. Really, as we bring new agents onto our teams, it's really something that, in my opinion, that they should know, because at 11 o'clock at night, you want to send a counter offer. Of course, you're going to want to know how to. As far as like my experience on other teams, when their administrative support would do, say, like a full market analysis, that is something that maybe I wouldn't be able to provide as a team lead, because more to the core of who I am is that I feel that the agent really needs to be the one doing the market analysis. So although that's a great retention tool, is it in the best interest of all? I don't think it is.
Right.
So that's sort of where the disillusionment comes from, because also, it's in your best interest to do your CNA. Do you pay 50% of your commissions for something like that? It all adding up quantitatively to me felt like they were having their identities assimilated. And for me, I'd love to provide a brand and a done for you option. eXp does that in our eXp marketing center. So there's really a lot of like the holdups and the hurdles that maybe somebody would think, oh, I'm going to go this team route, now are completely taken away from just being in a company that's so forward paced and providing so much value. If they don't provide it, they're providing partnerships and affiliation relationships with companies that do provide that, like our KV Core or soon to be Chime offerings with eXp Realty. So I feel like there's a place for the team model. It's not necessarily for me, because eXp has that model covered as far as our revenue share and our stock awards and our agent equity program.
Wow. I'm hearing a lot of things, and in some ways, I've been in this business a long time, and it's still like, I mean, you have so much information, and some of it's going over my head. You just mentioned like the KV Core, soon to be Chime. Is that real?
It's so real. It is so real. Who do we talk to about it? It is that real. So I don't understand how it came about or how that was able to come about, because from what I understood, KV Core contractually is our only CRM of offering at eXp. However, I can confirm that there is a corporate account with Chime and eXp, and that Chime is an affiliate partner, and that you can get your seat in Chime for $25 a month. It's not quite live yet. And there are a few, like with everything, there's a few add-ons and upgrades that, I mean, I personally wouldn't go bare bones at $25 a month. I'd have the dialer and some of the other things. And I think you'd be looking at around $70 a month. And up until this point, I was offering seats on my Chime as well, with the most referred expert pages. So people could join whether you're at eXp or not at eXp, and you can have that Chime CRM experience. The cost was higher. It's about $100 per month. But with the corporate offering, it looks like they're going to be able to offer it less. I think $25 to $70 a month US is what you'd be looking at paying. Yeah.
Is KV Core being like, is it something that we won't have soon, or?
You're always going to have KV Core. I don't see KV Core ever going away, ever. I just feel like our agents are a little bit more sophisticated, and this could be my ego, but I feel that at eXp, there's a high level of agents here that would maybe could relate to myself, feeling like that misfit or that odd one out at their previous brokerage, because being more into technology and a little bit wanting to apply that to my business, did kind of feel like the odd person out at my previous brokerages. And here at eXp, I just really don't. I feel like a small fish in a really, really big pond, which is what I like.
Tell me a little bit about what your business looks like right now. So you're very involved in coaching and helping others, whether they're in our brokerage of eXp or not. And you seem to be doing a lot with most referred.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what's happening now with Katie. What's the future going to look like?
I love coaching and helping agents, and it's definitely part of my business that I've been growing. It's evolved actually from just the creating of the referral network, and then getting to know the agents, sharing my skill set, which is typically around onboarding and integrating with software, and then how that can affect their business. And so I would say that the majority of the agents that I connect with are either brand new to real estate, or that they are had been in real estate for a long period of time, but have never really embraced technology. And they're either looking to level up or understand at least what they're delegating before they delegate. And then that next level would be me helping and integrating them with a virtual assistant and how they can use technology to outsource and scale their business.
Awesome. Katie, in respect to the audience time and your own time, I just had a couple more questions. One, I guess, if you had an ask for a particular listener of the audience, what would it be? And what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn or social media. Instagram, realestate.coo is my handle. Essentially, it's just real estate sales and operations. So, and agents have needs to talk about their business and how to scale them, reach out to me for sure. I'm happy to help.
In particular, ask of the audience?
Well, if you know anyone looking to buy or sell real estate in the Fraser Valley, I am definitely here to help them. I still actively take listings and work with buyers. I'm negotiating a condo right now and just sold a $1.3 million 2-story with a suite in a cul-de-sac down the road. So it's an active market. It is a changing market, and there's so many opportunities right now. If you know anyone thinking of buying or selling, I'm definitely interested in having that conversation also.
And if you want to visit Katie's Calendly link, I mean, this woman is a wealth of information. You can schedule a call with her to talk about Chime, onboarding, all sorts of things. So Katie, thank you so much for being on the show. I think that we will continue to connect.
Okay, talk to you soon. I'm going to the business planning clinic at eXp right now.
Off you go. Thank you so much. Bye now.